And we are rolling, Amanda. Although,
Sweet.
Casey, let's know back your head will be very prompt. Okay, not much we can do about it, unfortunately. But we're rolling.
Welcome, everybody.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. The room's unlocked, and we actually have video. So, my name's Amanda. Some of you know me. A lot of you probably don't. I'm InfoSister Online. I currently work at Hurricane Labs doing network security in Northern Ohio. And this talk is based on, I worked at a healthcare facility for 7 years, and we implemented a training program that was all live phishing. And so this is what that's about. Some of the stuff I did, I was a Windows admin for a long, long time. Active Directory, PowerShell, that kind of stuff. Did a phishing program, a lot of purple teaming within healthcare. Like I said, now I do network security, a lot of stuff with checkpoints and Cisco and stuff like that. So just a random assortment of stuff. This is the company metrics of Company A that I used to work for. Around 2,000 employees, the majority of them were nurses. So a good amount of a female populace. We already, by the time we got to wanting to implement a phishing program, we had already kind of hardened a lot of our security. Notoriously, healthcare is horrible when it comes to anything security related. There's some amazing horror stories about that stuff. And we already had some C-level buy-in. Our CEO used to be a CISO for another healthcare organization when he came in, so he knew the value of security anyways, and he kind of knew what we were talking about. He wasn't clueless. And they gave us a $1,000 budget because they wanted to see what we could do with $1,000 and my time to see how bad our user education was, since we really only did some CBTs to check off the HIPAA box and didn't actually teach them anything. I mean, CBTs are pretty much worthless, but you have to do them. A lot of people do it just for compliance. So I wanted to start out with a baseline to kind of tell me where our users' weaknesses were, just to see kind of where the program would take us. So this was my first phish ever. Like, I had never phished anything before. The idea was to start out as super basic as possible, because we were hoping that we wouldn't get, we were actually capturing credentials. We were hoping we wouldn't capture any credentials. I actually fucked this one up because I was using Social Engineering Toolkit, and it was the first time I had done it on that large of a scale. I had tested it out myself a little bit just to see if it would work, and I completely crashed my Kali box in the middle of the phish. So the first link I sent out was broken. So I said fuck it, and I just resent another one saying sorry about the broken link. But it's from a Gmail address that I just randomly created, plain text, and a link that went to an IP address that was just a scrape of a SurveyMonkey site. I gathered the information just with some OSINT, like somebody normally would do. Harvester.py is a pretty cool Python script that will go out and scrape like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, that kind of stuff for your domain's email addresses that it can find out there on the internet. So I found 50 of them, and I still got 16 usernames and passwords out of that. 32%'s not very good, and only 4 reports.
Those were Active Directory credentials.
And those were Active Directory credentials. Absolutely nothing would have pointed out that it should have been something that was legit. I mean, the only thing I put in there was the company name, in the fake Gmail address.
So this was my second one.
So this was my second one.
still hadn't had a program?
We still hadn't had a program at this point. They were just saying, sure, why don't you just send out some fishes?
Not having a program,
we probably should have done that in the beginning. We did. It was a lot of growing pains going through these different fishes. The first one I did in July. This one was in August of that year. After this fish, it took another 6 months for us to build the program before I could start fishing people again, because we actually got still a lot of usernames and passwords. I don't know. I can't remember if this was the one or not. Which one was it?
I
actually fished the CEO. I sent it like on a Monday. After a 3-day weekend, and he was just trying to get through his shit, and I got his username and password. After that point is when they're like, oh, this is a thing. We probably should tell people about it.
We wanted a program with some teeth.
So we wanted a program with some teeth. This is a really creepy picture. Gets the point across, though.
So we called it Something Smells Fishy.
Something Smells Fishy. We wanted to keep it around like a fish type of theme. So this is some of the material that we actually gave to the users.
Told them what fishing was.
We told them what fishing was. Whew.
We let them know.
I'm a big proponent of using the word hacker in a positive light. So we let them know that we actually had internal hackers that were going to be helping them out. And the whole idea was for education. They weren't going to get a smack on the hand. A lot of places like to do that, like to point out their failures and yell at them for clicking on stuff. But we wanted to make sure they felt safe enough to talk to us. Some stuff to kind of drive home the point. Other things that should actually be reported. We focused a lot on the ease of use for reporting, and I'll get to some of that in a second. But we actually had to come up with some contest rules. We didn't realize this until after a couple months, because people were trying to game the system after they found out about it. We would actually, the whole point of the program, if they would report us or a real fish, they would get their name dropped in a fishbowl. That fishbowl, we would draw prizes like monthly, quarterly, and yearly. We were having people just like forward spam and like I got this fish, I'm going to forward this to somebody else to send it. No, so we actually had to come up with some rules. Some more rules. I'm not a big fan of a lot of text, so I'm just going to go through those. This is all online too. So these are some of our awards. Again, we wanted to keep it fish themed as much as possible. We actually had a coffee shop in the hospital itself, and a lot of people would go there. So every month, 2 winners were drawn for $10 to the coffee shop.
$50 to Red Lobster and Bass.
$50 to Red Lobster and Bass Pro for quarterly winners. And the end of the year was $300. So that was our entire budget, was $1,000 for the prizes. We didn't spend any. I created all the material. I worked with my supervisor and our director to kind of come up with the program, make sure everybody was on board. And these are the actual fishes, or how I did it. This is actually what they would get if they gave me their username and password, or clicked on a link, or opened an attachment. The end goal was always to get them that shock factor of, holy shit, I really shouldn't have done what I just did, and let them know that it's fine, and kind of go over the material of what not to do, that kind of stuff. And that's how we got, yeah.
Was this an automated thing? As soon as they clicked, they would get something like that, or were you just...
Okay, so the question was this automated?
Okay, so the question was this automated? The actual You've Been Hacked was automated. In set, you can set up that kind of stuff. So
after the website.
After the website scrape, you can forward it to another website. A lot of times it'll just forward back to the real website, so it just does like a refresh. But you can customize it so you can send it wherever you want. This was just hosted locally on a web server that as soon as they typed in their username and password, boom, it was there. So it's a really nice feature. So this was the most difficult part about running this program, was keeping track of all this shit. 2,000 employees, and I talked to Chris Hadnaggy about this. He's actually, to plug him a little bit, I think he's coming out with a tool that would actually track this kind of stuff. I did it all in Excel. Absolutely terrible. The worst part of this whole thing was all the keeping up with that, because we have a lot of turnover. So you're pulling in people's email addresses from Active Directory. You're getting a report at the end of who clicked or who gave their credentials, and then we wanted to also keep track for the reporting to see how that metric went with how much training we were putting out. So that metric also helped us when it came to the rewards program, right? So 3 columns every month of 2,000 users. That was also varying, and it was just a gigantic pain in the butt. This was my first legitimate fish from when the program started. The idea was we wanted to cover all of the users, but not all at once. I don't want to send out 2,000 emails every month, because I just think that would just not be fun. So we figured, we'll split it up to like the people that use their email the most first, because they're going to be the ones that probably click on the links. A lot of like housekeeping staff and maintenance wouldn't really ever use their email. So I wanted to target like C-levels, physicians, nurses that use their email a lot to communicate, our internal IT team, and I wanted to keep it as basic as possible, as obvious as possible, as it was a fish, and kind of ramp it up from there. If you reported it and you didn't get fished, you had to do that twice in a row, and you were taken off the list until, like next year, right? Because those people are pretty security conscious already. I want to focus on the people that are always giving me their usernames and passwords. And if you did give me that, or you did click, or you didn't report, you automatically got added to next month's list. So you would keep on getting it over and over. Again, a blanket Gmail address. We set it to urgent. This was right around the first of the year, so it was people were thinking about the tax time, and it was just a login to. I think this was a login to our HR system. And I got 322 usernames and passwords. That's a lot. Like. For me, when I just started doing this, it was so cool, because if you've ever used Set, you can actually see in real time the usernames and passwords jump up on the screen. I was sitting there like all happy that I'm actually getting credentials, and I don't know, people thought I was weird. What's that? Did I validate the credentials? Obviously not all 322. I would spot check some, yeah. And they were legit Active Directory credentials, which was great. And then you'd also with this we did like analysis on the passwords, right? And they were just shit. Like it just, surprise. How much time do I got? Holy shit! All right. I'm gonna blast through this stuff. All right. So we did a February one for Valentine's Day. Still got 89 usernames and passwords. Our reporting was going up, so that was good. It was nice to see that many reports. We did a March one. This one didn't work out. This one didn't work out so well, so we were part of healthcare. If you've ever heard of March of Dimes, it's like a fundraising thing, and we were actually sending out so many March of Dimes emails. I'm pretty sure this just, like, people just had automated rules of sending March of Dimes shit to the trash. So I'm pretty sure that's why this one didn't work out well. I would have deleted it too.
Only 4.
So, only 4.
37 reports.
But 37 reports, which was really nice. This was a great stepping stone for us because we had never actually gotten any real live reports ever before. So after we actually started teaching people of what to do, they're like, oh, hey, maybe I should actually send this in. It was one of our directors, and this was actually somebody that he was working with and had contracts with, but he wasn't currently working with this person on a project. So he thought it was a little weird. It was actually a clickbait link that would capture credentials. So it was very nice. We used him kind of as a what's the word? What's that?
Poster boy.
Yeah, thank you. Like a poster boy for what to do, right? We made sure he was cool with it, and we sent this out.
This one was one of my favorites.
This one was one of my favorites. It was a Kohl's receipt for, almost $600 for fine china sent to some dude in South Africa. Kind of felt bad for this lady. She canceled her Kohl's card, and she was not very happy. So she got like a extra card. She didn't have to win anything. You know, we just gave her like $10, but still. I felt a little bad, but it was kind of cool.
We wanted to look for reporting only on
We wanted to look for reporting only on this one, so 23% was pretty good. This was for May and June. They actually sent out 2. This is one of them from our third-party pen testing company that would come in and pen test us every year.
They're professionals.
You know, they're professionals doing this fish. And we didn't get fished. Like, we had professional company come in and try and use social engineering to fish our employees. And
Bottom one.
all right, so the bottom one, so these are for the 2 emails. Top one, we didn't get fished. The bottom one, depending on who you talk to, because it was after the period of when they were supposed to be testing us, they just had left the website up. So one person technically did click, but some people say it didn't count, but I think it does. Still pretty good.
So the point of everything.
So the point of everything, right, is incident response. It's not their job to understand what to do on their machine if they clicked on something or gave up their username and password. The point is they need to get it as fast to somebody who knows what they're doing as possible.
This was for the professional fish.
This was for the professional fish.
3 minutes?
Let's see, here's that 3 minutes? 3-minute incident response time. Within
11 minutes, we were already
11 minutes, we were already discussing null routing it and removing it from exchange and that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Like, sometimes people don't find out about that shit until days later. Like, the other day, I kind of just, like, gave out my username and password. No weird stuff's happening. No, like, this is exactly what you want. You want people to feel comfortable enough to, and know that what the urgency is and why they have to contact you right away.
Another one.
There's another one. I don't think I was capturing credentials. No, it was just a click that would take them automatically to the site.
This one was cool.
This one was cool because we just had a Jimmy John's open across the street. Everybody, I think, opened this one. It was just an attachment of the training material. That was all it was a PDF of the training material.
This was the last one that I did.
And this was the last one that I did because I was actually leaving for another job. So I just said fuck it and sent it to everybody. And it was in the middle of when I was leaving. It was 17 reports as of the time I left.
Actually show up
the last time I had these graphs. They were really shitty and you couldn't see anything. So I kind of wanted to chart what happened and maybe kind of think about it. It's all the metrics that we took. I kind of thought about taking more metrics, like based on gender, age, that kind of stuff, just to see like maybe what time it was sent. There's some talks based on when people are more likely to click on the links, right? So like Monday mornings. After a weekend, you know, because they're just trying to clean up stuff. But this is what I took track of. So, you know, the fact that the reporting went up based on, time was good. And the reported percentage. And fish percent went down. That was an important one. How much time? So, bidirectional positive response is what you want. You don't, I've talked to a couple people that actually had programs in their organization that they would have like a wall of shame of people that clicked. They would get demerits or whatever. That's not how you want to handle it. You want them to be a part of the team. That security is everybody's responsibility. They were very happy that we were starting to reach out and teach them, as opposed to being the dudes that sit in the basement behind their computers and their cubes. This was, I think one of the most important things to get across to the users is that it's a fun thing. It's a contest. There's a bunch of stuff out there about gamification of this kind of stuff, and that's the reason why. Someone is always going to click, but that's not the important part. The important part is the incident response. Social engineers will always get in. It's our human nature. But them knowing what to do is the important part. No one's exempt. I said, we got our IT director, we got the CEO, physicians. These people are smart. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's not what they know. Getting the point across. I should have worked with marketing a little bit more. We had a lot of people that didn't really know about the program. At the point in time when I found out I was leaving, I was going to try and work with them, create posters, other kind of material to get it out there. Communication's always the hardest part, is getting everybody to actually know about it. Haha. This is for Adrian. Said I didn't have enough naked men in my slides. So it's not a one-size-fit-all. I talked to somebody that worked in a very large credit card company, and the people, he said they won't let us implement this because they constantly have people for customer support, that if you phish them and it takes away from their time on the phone billing to customers, they're losing money because they have to always be billing. That was the reason behind not being able to phish those employees. Taking time away from them to educate them wasn't worth it to them, which that's great. I mean, if you're a large corporation and you want to take the risk, that's on you. What I would change, starting out, I didn't really train the help desk on what to do. When someone called, when someone forwarded an email, that was a big mistake, because right away we had a breakdown of communication where sometimes, one person would tell them, just forward the email, the other person, I'll just delete it, or they wouldn't know it was a live fish going on. That was nice to have a formalized procedure. I think we did that after the first one. More automation because the spreadsheets suck ass. And I wanted to add some phishing. On my blog, all that shit's up there. I've had a couple people just pull it down and use it. I took all of our company information off of it, so you can just add your own logos and stuff. A bunch of links. Ben 10 has a really good gamification blog on his. Trusted Sex up there. And Phishing Frenzy is actually a good tool that's out there that will let you do the same thing as SET does, but keep track of more metrics. And I don't know if it's still in production or not. And that's it.